friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be working on the Rebel Tunic. This is a super cute little top with the panel as a skirt. Well, the skirt made out of different panels, which is super cute because you can color block, you can use a panel for the front and then color block the skirt however you want to. I am using just different colors to make the skirt, and I am super excited. I think this is going to be super cute, and it is actually super easy, so let's get started. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our bodice. Here are all my little skirt panels, how cute. And we're going to grab our front and our back. We're going to put one face up on our board and we're going to put the other one face down on it. So we're just going to match those shoulders right sides together. So let's match the shoulders and we're going to go ahead and sew them together. I'm gonna just go do that real quick on my serger. You can use a serger or a sewing machine, either way, but if you're using a sewing machine, you will need a stretch stitch on your sewing machine, being that this is a knit pattern, so that when you put it on, the knit pattern stretches, so you want to make sure that your stitch, whatever stitch you're using, can stretch when you put it on. So let's sew those shoulders real quick. Once those shoulders are sewn, we're going to go ahead and attach our sleeve. I should have done a better job at matching my stripes, but you know, I am not the best at that most of the time. Alright, we're going to grab our sleeves. So I am making the short sleeve version, and I'm actually banding my short sleeve. So there's that. But we're going to fold the sleeve in half, no matter what version you're making, and we're going to find the half of the sleeve, and that half that I just marked is going to go right on the seam of the shoulder. So we're going to place that right on the seam of the shoulder, right sides together. So the right side of the sleeve is touching the right side of the bodice. And we're going to go all the way down to the edge, matching those raw edges together and stretching the sleeve down just a little bit to fit. And then we're going to go the other way, all the way to the bottom, and then stretching the sleeve to fit. Usually like to clip in the middle. Now if you want a pin or clip, put more pins or more clips on there, you're more than welcome to. I find that with 3 it's good enough for me, because I'll start as I'm sewing and I'll go to the next point and stretch and sew, then I'll go to the next point, stretch and sew. So I take my time with that. So let's do the same for the other sleeve. Alright, so we're gonna go sew that, but while I'm at it, let's prep our bands. I have my arm bands and my neck band, and what I like to do now, if you're not doing bands, let me grab my iron real quick. All right, if you're not doing bands, then you can go ahead and grab your sleeve and fold a 1/2 inch seam allowance and steam to give it a memory crease. That way once it's put on and sewed on, it'll have that crease. But if you're doing bands, we can go ahead and get those ready by folding wrong sides together. So I'm gonna fold it touching the wrong sides together and steam to give it a memory crease. I'm gonna do that for all of them. And once you do that, you're gonna grab your band, you're gonna open it up, and you're gonna match it right sides together at that short raw edge and sew that short raw edge together. And we're gonna do that for both the bands and the neck band. And Bo is here trying to say hello. You probably, I don't think you've seen him. He is becoming, now that he's getting older, he's getting independent, and he wants to sit out there in the living room when I'm working. But every once in a while he comes by and says hello and likes to sit right in my way. Come on. You want to say hi? Come on. Come on. Come here. Come here. He doesn't want you to see him, I guess. Come on. Come on. Here he is. Say hi to Bo. Hi. Hi. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and sew that. Once my sleeves are on, we're going to fold it, my top, right sides together, and we're going to sew those side seams together. sides are sewn, we're gonna go ahead and attach our bands. If you have sleeves, you can go, long sleeves or sleeves without bands, you can go ahead and hem those sleeves. If you're doing bands, my bands are already sewn, so we're gonna go ahead and quarter our bands. For my armband, I don't quarter them, I just half them because they're smaller, so I don't feel like I need to quarter them. But if you want to quarter them, obviously you can. But what I do is I go from my back seam to the front, and there's my half. But for my neckband, I do quarter my neckband, so I grab it and I fold it in half, wrong sides together, I'm sorry, right where that crease we made earlier. I fold it, clip it or pin it, and then I go to the front, just like we did with our sleeve, sleeve band. But then now I also match the front and the back, and I go to the sides. Those are my quarter points. The reason why we do this, it's so that we know exactly where they're supposed to be attached to our neck. That way it will be attached evenly. If you don't quarter, if you just go by whatever, it might not be attached evenly, and then you won't have a really good neckband. Quartering it always gives us a really nice neckband. All right, then we're gonna quarter our neck area as well by grabbing and matching our shoulder seams and going to the back, and then shoulder seams again and going to the front. I like to do a little notch like with my scissors. It's so small that it will be eaten with my sewing, when my seam allowance, but it is big enough that I'll see it when I'm sewing. So I'm gonna put the back and the front and go to the sides. Our shoulders are not our quarters. On some sizes, you will have a very big difference between your quarter and your shoulders. This one's got like a ½ inch. If you go by your shoulders, then you'll have it really tight in the front and loose in the back. So you don't want to do that. And then on my arm, I just do my half, just like I did on my band. And usually I like to turn it right side out. Okay. And then I'm going to match my band and my bands to my quarter points. So my back, I always want to put that in the back seam. Remember, the back is usually the higher rise. It goes up higher, the back. And then we're matching right sides together, those raw edges and those quarter points all the way around. We're going to do that for our neckband and our armbands, if you're doing armbands. All right, so then we can go ahead and sew that by stretching and sewing those raw edges together. While I'm sewing these bands, I'm also gonna go ahead and prep my skirt. And the way I'm going to do that is, there's a piece of thread hanging out of my shirt. I'm gonna take care of that. We're gonna grab the panels and we're gonna put one panel face up. Let's see, yeah, that's my face up. Face up, and then the next panel face down, right on top of it, right sides together on that raw edge on the side, and pin, and we're gonna sew that. Then we're just matching, we're just blocking it. Next panel, same thing, gonna put that side down, we're gonna grab the next panel, right sides together. Sometimes it's hard to tell which one's the right side with, this is double brush poly. Sometimes it's hard to tell which one's the right side with double brush poly. What I like to do to see the right side is I usually pull it apart. I'll show you. I usually pull at it like so, and when the right side, you can see those grain lines really easily. The back side, the grain lines are fuzzier, so that's how I know which one's the front and the back. So then the next one, right sides together, and keep going all the way around until you make that circle, that whole skirt together. And then if you want to, which I think I'm going to, once you're, well, I'll show you, I'll come back to that. So let me finish putting this together and then we're gonna go over there and sew it. when it's the last panel, you just bring that other panel at the end and meet them together, and sew that, and then that's created a whole circle, a whole skirt. So let's go sew the neckbands and the skirt panels together. For my bands, I always like to start at the back seam, and I usually grab my next quarter point and I flush it out with my neckband, make sure they're even, stretch it out a little bit, and sew. When I get to that quarter point, I remove the pin, I go to the next quarter point and repeat the process, get it all evened out, and sew. And go finish up going all the way around doing the same thing. All right, now what I want to do is a couple of things. First of all, I want to steam all my seams to give it a better look. Sometimes when you steam them, it makes the seam straighter, and it helps the whole overall look. But another thing I want to do is, to give it like a more finished look or whatever, you can go ahead and top stitch these seams down. You can do that by using a cover stitch, which I have a cover stitch, or just a straight stitch, because the skirt is not gonna have to stretch. It is gonna be gathered at the waist, so it's gonna be a loose fit. So you could do that with a straight stitch on your sewing machine. What I will do is, like I said, I'm steaming all my seams down. After I steam my seams down, I go ahead and go to my sewing machine, my cover stitch, my sewing machine or my cover stitch, and I put a stitch right on top of that, a top stitch right on top of that seam to hold that down. Then after that, if you want to go ahead and hem it, you can hem it now or you can hem it when we're done. I'm gonna hem it when I'm done, because I'm just gonna do a rolled hem on my sewing machine, which what I do on my serger, I don't use a rolled hem foot. My serger, I can set it for the 3 threads, and it makes it like a skinnier edge, a skinnier seam, and that's what I usually use for my rolled hem, because I just think I don't want to go through all the hassle of putting a foot in and everything. But being that this is knit, you could tuck all those tails in and just leave it a raw edge. This is gonna be so cute. You could leave that raw edge at the bottom and that would be fine, or you can just hem however you want to hem. It is kind of hard to do, and well, it's not hard, but it is a rounded bottom, so you will have to, as you're steaming, you will pull on the fabric to help it to flip that, do that that circle turn. That it's not circle, is a rounded edge, right? So let me go ahead and do that, and then after I do that, and you can top stitch your top too if you want to. Look at how cute that's gonna be. After you do that, you can go ahead and gather your skirt. We're gonna put in a gathering stitch at the waist to gather it the width of our top, because we're gonna sew it onto our top. So, and you can, I don't know if I already said this, you can go ahead and also top stitch the neckband and the armbands if you want to. I probably won't. I'm always so cautious to do that, because especially when the neckband looks good and I'm like, I don't want to ruin it. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll be courageous and try it and see what happens. So let's go do all those things. All right, I top stitched all my panels, and I also actually top stitched my neck. It looks good. Actually, I was surprised. All right, so I'm gonna match up those side seams and go to the front and the back. So I'm gonna mark my quarters of my bodice. How I gathered my skirt is I did a straight stitch, a basting stitch on my sewing machine, which is a straight stitch. My sewing machine goes to a size 4 length stitch, so I went to a size 4. You can go higher if your sewing machine goes higher. And what I do is I hold the tension up top on my sewing machine. Might not be the best thing to do for your sewing machine, I'm not sure, but my sewing machine works just fine, so I did that, and that's how I usually gather my pieces, gather my fabric. So now I gotta figure out how I want to place this skirt. Do I want the green up top? Do I want the pink up top, up front? What do I want? I think I'm gonna go with the green up front. And what I'm gonna do is, since it's even, my panels are even, then I'm going to know that my front, this is gonna be in the middle, my middle, and my sides. So that's why I didn't quarter my skirt. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it right sides together, and we're gonna match up those quarter points. So my half points, which is the middle of my front panel, the middle of my back panel, my front and my back, and then the middle of my side panels are my sides. Makes sense, right? And I'm going to pin them right sides together to my bodice, because what we're going to do is we're gonna sew them on. We're gonna sew that skirt onto our bodice. Then I'm gonna change my machine to do a like a smaller stitch, and I'm gonna use that for my rolled hem. But if you don't want to roll hem it, you can hem it like usual, like regular hem. You can do, like I said, because the skirt is not going to stretch, because it's wider than it needs to be, then you can even do, if you don't want to do a rolled hem, you can do a straight stitch hem on your sewing machine. It doesn't need to be a stretch stitch, so you can do that as well. That's another option. So I'm going to pin it. I'm pinning it all right sides together to the raw edges. And then I'm gonna head over there to my sewing machine, my serger, because I'm gonna serge it on, and serge my skirt on and hem, and we're done. Simple, quick, and easy. What do you all think? Tell me what you think about this pattern. You know, when I saw it, I was thinking, it is super cute, but I was like, oh my goodness, is this gonna take forever? It looks so complicated. And then I get to it and I'm like, oh, it really isn't. It really is not that complicated. It's pretty simple and straightforward. So I was super excited to make it. And I hope that you are excited to make it as well. I think that sometimes, again, I say this all the time, but we get in our heads and think, I'm not going to be able to do this. The only way you're going to be able to do it is if you just jump in and actually do it. And then you find out it's not that bad. And the more I do it, the easier it gets and the better my garment looks. And that is what I love about sewing, that you can go in there and just make something beautiful out of nothing. Just, you know, a piece of fabric, and then you can create some gorgeous piece that you're so proud of. I love that feeling. I do have plenty of those times where I make something, or I'm halfway making something and it's just not working, and it's like pulling hair, pulling teeth, and it's just not gonna work and be what I want it to be. That's okay. It happens to all of us. What do? I put it to the side, stick it in the closet, come back to it later, go back to my sewing machine and make something beautiful that I know I can make, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back. Let's go back to the other piece that I was struggling with and see if we can fix it. And then sometimes there's pieces where I just throw right into the garbage because it didn't work out. So it's easy to see me sewing on YouTube and you thinking, oh my goodness, her pieces always turn out, everything always looks good. That's not the reality all the time. I have times where my pieces do not turn out. My fabric matching, not on point. Those pieces just don't make it. You know, they don't make it on the video, or they don't make it on Facebook or Instagram. And that's just life. You know, sometimes you make something beautiful, then sometimes you think you're gonna make something beautiful and it just doesn't happen. Don't give up. Just keep going, because something beautiful will come. So let's go ahead and sew this. Well, that got a little deep right there. Let's sew this up. other than pulling my basting stitch, which is what I'm doing now, we are done. This was super cute and super easy. I'd say, what do you think was the hardest part? I don't think there was anything hard. I think what took the longest was actually me top stitching the little panels for the skirt, and that was it. Everything else was kind of pretty simple and quick. So I am super excited because this was really, really super cute. I am going to continue to take all these basting stitches off, but look at how adorable this looks. I love like the handkerchief. I can't say the word. Style look that the bottom of the dress, the bottom of the tunic has. I just think it came out so cute. I love it. I hope you love it as well. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did. Comment, like, share, subscribe. If you haven't subscribe so you can be entered for our fun fan giveaway that we do monthly. Come find us on Facebook and Instagram so you can see what everybody's making and you can be inspired to make beautiful things, and then you can post your beautiful things and inspire us to make more beautiful things. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!